It wasn't the end that both Indian and England fans must have desired. The stage was set for a thrilling finish at Trent Bridge, but rain had the last laugh, something that's been the case in England for years. As the five-game series moves to the mecca of cricket, one can look forward to tantalizing prospects, hopefully without reading or listening to words or phrases such as hosing down, rained off, rain ruins, and I think it's better that I stop here. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the 18th episode of Cricket Spectacle. I'm Siddharth Gulati, and as always, I have with me Nikhil Deshpande and Dan Gardner. Once again, we are joined by Mr. Arshad Ayub, the former India spinner, who I'm sure has a lot to say about the ongoing series. Sir, it's an honor to have you once again.
Thank you.
Okay, sir, to start off, before I switch ins with both Nikhil and Dan, what do you make of India and England's efforts at Trent Bridge?
I think, England, although they have a balanced side, but the batting depth is up to 9, and still they were struggling in the first inning, and none of them got big scores, and because of that, they have got out for 183. I think, but I can't take away the way the Indians bowled in the first innings. All through the match, they have bowled really well. Bumrah bowled really well, Shami bowled really well, Siraj, Shardul actually contributed. So I think, the first inning itself, I think England had probably would have lost the game. The way they batted in the first inning itself, that could have been an advantage to India. But fortunately for them, India, they didn't capitalize on that as much as they should. And Anderson bowling so well, taking those 2 wickets of Pujara and Virat Kohli, I think made the difference. The tail wagged, and with Jadeja playing a really important knock at that time, I think India could get around 95 runs lead. But I think overall, the first inning was I think little plus for India, but not that much of an advantage at that particular time. But then again, that 95 runs lead, it definitely counted, because when England started the second inning, so they lost few wickets before they crossed the actual lead, and that gave a little advantage to India. Although India didn't bowl as well as they bowled in the first innings, I think they managed well to get England around 300, which is, I feel, is that England could have got a much bigger score the way they were playing, with Joe Root being there. But the contribution from others, whether it is Bairstow or Butler, and then later on, Sam Curran, they did contribute it, but I think there was not big contributions. I think if there was some big contributions there, I think probably England, if they had scored around 370, 380, then probably India scoring 270 in the fourth inning would have been a difficult part. But unfortunately, the rain, saved them, and India had to now look forward for the next match to do the honors of winning a game. But I think overall, I think it was a good test match, good fought match, and in a way that plus and minuses were there in both the teams.
Yeah.
And I think that is the gist of the matter. If you're talking about the first test match, second inning, India didn't bowl that well. They should have bowled well. They bowled short most of the time, although Jasprit bowled really well.
Right.
And one bowler was bowling, constantly at a good line and length, but others, they were spraying here and there. Although initially Siraj got 1 wicket, after that, they were trying too hard, I think. They were trying too hard. But surprisingly, if you look at it, that, Shardul Thakur, he's something which, always, if you look at it, always he has contributed. In this match, he contributed 4 wickets.
Yes.
And two in the first, two in the second. He always been there, very, a big fighter, a big fighter. He's a thinker who normally, gets you breaks at the right time. And that's what he did. And I think that was plus for India that, 4 wickets sharing with Shami, and then Bumrah 9 wickets. All this with 2 wickets to 3 wickets to Siraj.
Yes.
I think this was something which the bowling unit have done really well. Second inning they could have done better, but I think in an overall scenario they have done really well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you specifically maybe talked about the Shardul Thakur, how he has actually been Kohli's go-to man, or maybe, the golden arm that India has required, probably across formats. There's also this one player who has actually made a comeback into the, test arena. And the way he played in both the innings at Trent Bridge, I think it has just possibly given him that extra push or that extra cushion that yes, he's probably going to play ahead of Mayank Agarwal at least for the next few games, and that's KL Rahul. I think he attacked and defended really well. So when I was watching his innings, the first innings, I think it was for me it was actually like it's the KL Rahul of 2015 that we saw in Sydney, and then we saw it in Sri Lanka. So he's actually moving well, very much, very well within the crease. He's defending well, he's attacking well. So what, according to you, are the changes has he made in his game, and how it has really helped him?
Actually, if you look at it, from the beginning, Rahul had a very good technique. It has never been, but because of the failures and all that, he was fishing too much in between, and that's why he was struggling a bit as an opener. But I think he realized that he has to be as compact as he started, because in Australia, after the first inning when he got out, the second inning 100 what he got in Australia was really good. The way he played, the way he kept his composure all the time, I think that was really good. Now Rahul looks to be good in the opening slot, and I think that is something which will be big plus for India, because he's in my opinion, he's a much better player than Mayank Agarwal, as well as our new chap Gill. Shubman Gill. Yeah. So these two, I mean, Rahul has always got a better technique than these two. But now, since he has performed well, and performing in England is something you always carried in your career, and this is going to be a real moral booster for him. And I think I'm hoping that in the future he will continue to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, sir. I'll request Nikhil now to just take over.
Yeah, I think one of the main questions or decisions that India has to make now in the second test moving forward is that whether or not to get Ishant Sharma into the bowling attack, right? Like, would you, if you had to make that decision, would you stick with the bowling attack which has done so well in the first test, or would you like to make any changes, like even not just Ishant, maybe even consider Ashwin as well, because but that would probably mean sitting Jadeja out, which is probably impossible now. So that might be a question for some other test. But for second test, Ishant Sharma, for you, sir, would he be a part of your plan? And if so, who would he replace though?
I would like to go with Ashwin first. The thing is that if I know Ravi's mentality and Virat's mentality, they will go for horses for courses. It's not going to make much difference whether Jadeja has scored 50 or not. That is something which, if they feel that they need that batting depth, they will keep most probably Jadeja will be the man to go with. But if they feel that they need a little more variety in the bowling, and at this point of time, they might think otherwise also to go with Ashwin. Yeah. So that is something which is an open end, which can either of them can play. That is something which they will keep it open. They will not. I'm sure that they will not close that spot. But between Ishant, I would say that Yeah, they might, although they have done really well. Siraj and Shardul has done well. But I think if Ishant is fit enough to play the match, if he's going to be there for the whole match, then I think they will go with Ishant. I think they will go with Ishant because more experienced bowler. He has done really well in England. He has been bowling well earlier also in the earlier test matches also. So I think they might go with Ishant if he's fully fit. I don't know who will either. The good chances Siraj might have to give his place to Ishant. That looks like that. Shardul, because he can bat a little, and Indian batting depth is slightly weaker, and Shardul has also proven that in whenever is required, whenever he's called for, he has given those breaks which are required for India. So I think that advantage Shardul has, and batting advantage Shardul has. So maybe I think Siraj might have to make the place for Ishant.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with that because I think, as you mentioned, both Kohli and Shastri, they are like, let's attack, play to our strengths, and let's play our game rather than trying to be on the defensive side of things. So if they think that Ashwin is a like for like or a better option than Jadeja, they could easily do that. But credit to Jadeja in the first test, though, like he put up a performance where India were again in one of the situations where we thought, okay, we might just be bowled out now in the next 30 runs. And then you kept watching and he kept playing and he took the innings through. And then we ended up with a good enough lead that I think at one point of time, Indian team as a whole were pretty confident that, okay, we can actually win this, and not just win this, we don't have to worry about losing this anymore because of that one innings. Would you, it's probably a bit out there kind of option, but if Jadeja, do you him considering as just a pure batsman, would he be an option if he's considered as a pure batting option who can bowl rather than a bowling option who can bat? Would that be something you could maybe consider in the next test, or maybe somewhere down the line in the test series?
That could be a good thinking, because what's happening is that Jadeja has done well in England from the beginning, because he somehow that wickets are suited for him and he goes for it. And I think that they might do that, keeping Jadeja as a batting option and a batsman who can bowl quite a good bowling. I think I think they might keep that option, but depending on how the wicket is, because if it is Jadeja needs, actually, if you look at it, slightly worn on wicket if you need him to bowl. And Ashwin is a very clever bowler. He varies lot of he has got a lot of variation, as well as he has got that dip where he can fool the batsman and all that. So I think maybe if you're talking about the batsman point of view, yes, Jaddu has got a edge over him, and if they are going for a batting depth, I think there is a good possibility they will retain Jaddu.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if the pitch is actually offering anything at all, it makes sense to play both Jadeja and Ashwin in that case, because if it's we can actually then have one end with spinner and another pacer in that case, or even both spinners if the pitch is really helpful. But I don't think that's going to be the case in England, because they are going to make sure there's a lot of grass over there. I don't think there's going to be anything.
Nikhil, sorry to interrupt here. Like, it depends on what Jimmy and Stewart decide for the pitch. I mean, that's how England cricket's run these days. So as much as we want to see Ravi and Judge Asia both in the side together, you're going to have to ask Jimmy, and we're going to have to ask Stewart.
I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen, because that would be like asking Indian team to play on a green seaming pitch in Mumbai or something. That's going to happen.
I think it's fair enough, because they have their own conditions. They play on their conditions, and they have their strengths. And we do play on our strength, and I think our pitches are much drier, and that's why we always have a bit of a spin on the pitches. So I think it's fair enough that you know they are playing on that kind of pitches.
Yeah, that's the home advantage element of it, which is a major part of Test cricket, right? Playing away and winning a Test series is something which is really good. And given how India performed in the first Test, it's not. So the ability is clearly there. We were there almost. We could have probably won the match. India could have easily won that match. And maybe if it was a bit too cloudy, even Jimmy Anderson could have brought England back into the game. That's a possibility as well. But I think out of the two teams, who do you think would have been more happy with the performance in the first Test? Was it the England's fight back, which Joe Root showed, or was it India just proving to themselves that yes, we can actually beat England? This team is there for the taking, and we can actually beat them over the course of 5 Test series.
I think basically, if you look at the overall scenario, India will definitely have an advantage here. And they will think that, you know, basically we, at this point of time, that we have a team which can win this Test series. But I think if you look at the England team, they will take a lot of positive from this match. Yeah. The way they batted in the second inning, the way they bowled in the first inning, they will take a lot of points from this match. And I'm sure that they will work on that. And it's just that, you know, if you look at the scenario, if England can bat well, see, it can happen. Anytime it can happen. One of these guys, if they can get 100, and with Joe Root getting those runs, what he has got in the first inning, in the first Test, I think probably they will be looking at 400 runs on the board. If England can score in the first inning 400 runs, I think it'll not be easy for India to win the game then. It becomes quite a bit of a challenge for them, and they will have to really bat well and somehow make sure that, you know, either they stay in the game by getting those runs and bowling really well. Otherwise, it will be difficult for them. The day England score 400 runs, I think India will struggle a bit.
Yeah, I think I'll let Dan take over, because I'm pretty sure the element of 400 runs and England being in the same sentence will trigger some questions in Dan's head for sure.
No, I mean, I agree with you. The day England score 400 runs, yes, you know, India will be in a bit of trouble. It's not going to happen this series or the next series when England go to Australia. You know, we're looking maybe 2024 or 2025 there. So, I mean, we can all rest easy there, gentlemen. But just so, is there one player that sort of really stands out for you that India really need to fear? I mean, England were soft in this in that opening Test match. They were soft as pillows, really. I mean, if it wasn't for Joe Root's 100, the match would have been done and dusted. But is there one player that sort of stands out in the opposition as a danger player for you, based on what you've seen so far?
I think if you look at it, that, you know, as far as the batting is concerned, I'm always worried about Butler. He's one guy who can change the game, and he comes at a position where, you know, he can always turn around. And if he does that, then, you know, definitely England will have a bigger advantage there. Bairstow is a good player. He always gets those runs, 30, 50 runs. But, you know, Butler is one guy who can get 100 at the right crucial time, and it can change the whole, you know, composition of scenario there. And that is where, you know, this guy is always dangerous. Butler is dangerous. But one important point which I would like to make here is that, you know, if you look at, I think probably he has played only 2 Test matches, Robinson, and he has done so well. Yes. You know, taking those taking those 5 wickets, and, you know, his approach to the game is which is really good. I think, you know, he's fearless. He bowls fearless, he bats fearless, and that's how his approach is. I think, you know, he's one guy to look for the future, and throughout the series, he's one guy who's going to give trouble to India, in the sense that he has got that extra bounce, which normally, you know, Chris Broad has that. this guy also has got that extra bounce. And I feel that, this is a guy to be looked into. And we must not take it easy because, he's a new guy coming in, because he's going to surprise a lot of people.
That's an excellent suggestion. I mean, Robinson sort of stands out as a really important player for England now, with the news that Jofra Archer is going to be out for this series, the next series, and, won't be coming back as the same type of bowler. I mean, England, after having this abundance of fast bowling options available, are really, really struggling with injuries at the moment. There's been talk of Moeen Ali sort of coming into the side for the second test. If Ali comes in, do you think India will lean towards picking Ashwin, given that Ali's had like lots of issues with right arm off spinners in the past, like Nathan Lyon, for example?
True, very true. England has always had India has always had a bit of a trouble with off spinners. Right from the beginning, we used to have trouble. John Bracewell from New Zealand, he has taken, won the match for New Zealand at the time, taking 5 wickets in the second innings. So we always had, Nathan Lyon has always been there. He has been always getting wickets against India. Moeen Ali has done a few times. And if they bring in Moeen Ali, I think probably, I think psychologically at this point, although Moeen is not bowling that well as he was bowling a year back or so, but psychologically, yes, they will have a bit of an advantage, because India normally, they feel that the easiest bowler to play is off spinner. That's what they feel. And that's where they make too many mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's how it happens. And they make mistakes, and then they get into a situation where they cannot come out of it. That is what happens. But saying that, I don't know whether they will go with Ashwin or not, because although the replacement is not going to make a huge difference in batting, because Ashwin can bat really well. But bowling-wise, I think there is going to be a difference between Jadeja and Ashwin. There is going to be a difference. Ashwin will be a much better choice as an off-spinner.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, there were just times where the bowling attack looked a little bit flat. And Ravi's that guy, with that energy and that nice sort of variation on those dry English pitches that can, really sort of has the potential to run through England in the second innings, considering that the England's top 3 wouldn't have seen too much of him.
Yeah, true, very true. And your analysis is quite right that, he will play a very important role in the second inning. Although normally what happens is that Ashwin, if you look at him, 1 or 2 wickets he always takes in the first inning at a vital time. And that makes a huge difference for India. And as you said that, yes, second inning will be a very important, because that's where you win the game. That's where, if somebody can come and take 3-4 wickets, it can change the whole game scenario. I think by analyzing that, I think it is true to the fact that, if I am there, I would rather like to go with him.
Yeah. Sir, I have a question here. So, staying with England's, the discussion on the England's top 3. So, apart from Rory Burns, who has had a, good series against New Zealand, and of course, didn't get those big scores again in the first test against India. But given the kind of character that he has showed and the poise with which he plays, I'm pretty much sure that, he could be he could very well be the first choice opener for England for at least till the Ashes, or maybe for the series to come after that. But I think if we talk about Dom Sibley and Zach Crawley, they both haven't had those big scores, in the past few series. If you look at Zach Crawley, he hasn't even managed to get a 50 in quite a few innings now. So what do you think, and of course, in case of Dan Lawrence, also the England's number 6, he also hasn't got those big scores. So with Oli Pope, he's all but fully recovered from the injury, and he's possibly looks set to, get a game once again. Who do you think, he might just come into the team for? And do you also see maybe someone like Hasib Hamid getting a game? Like Hasib Hamid hasn't had the best of the time since his debut against India in 2016-17. He has had a rough ride, but now he has started to get into the thick of things. So, or do you see, both Pope and Hamid coming in for maybe say someone like Sibley, Zach Crawley, or maybe Dan Lawrence?
I think Sibley has shown that, he can bat and he can stay at the wicket, and he has got that composure to be there. I think it'll be Zach, who is always in a hurry, or has always been in a hurry. There, he's not really confident about, what he was going to do. So
Yeah.
I think maybe, Zach will have a bit of a disadvantage there. And if you look at the way Lawrence has played in India, maybe they want to pursue with him, because he's one guy who showed some grit here, and he played really well. So maybe they will pursue with him. So it all depends on, do they really want a mixture of at least, if Moeen Ali is coming back, if they want Moeen Ali in there, thick and thin of that, then probably they might have to drop one of the batsmen, because they will not drop any of the bowlers, but I think they will have to drop one of the batsmen. And probably one of them will either, as you said, that Crawley or Lawrence, any one of them can be one of the two guys if Ollie Pope is coming in and Moeen Ali is coming in. These two are the guys who might go out.
Right, right. So I'm just pretty much keen to know about one thing that, under Virat Kohli, so we have seen that the playing 11 is more or less never fixed. There are constant changes. You are basically, I would say, going for horses for courses, or you just want to go with the team that best, of course, suits the condition. Sometimes it's 3-2-4-1, or sometimes it's just a four specialist bowlers that are playing. So say probably, during your time when, how do the, let's say team meetings used to take place? What was the mindset, regarding the fact that, when you toured a specific country, were the plans initially very much set in place, or you just have to go there, or you just went there, or probably, then decided on the combination as to how things were? And could you tell, a story regarding all of this?
It's a very interesting thing, because during our time there used to be no support staff except for the manager.
Yeah.
And most of the time what used to happen was that the one of the test cricketers used to be the manager, and the meetings as such used to be there. Yes, definitely meetings were there. They were planning. They used to be talking about how's the opposition is going to be, what is the opposition is going to be, and how we should go about it as far as the batsmen are concerned. And yeah, but in today's time, the discussions are, I think, probably much in detail, and they have the technology to look at it. Earlier, we never had the technology. We never had a guy who was with us, who could show us, what is the opposition doing. All those technology has changed now, and there is so much of technology which has come in now. So because of that use, it was very simple during our time, I would say, and it's not now. It is quite a bit of study, quite a bit of analyzing of the whole thing, and then you have a plan with seeing the videos and all that. You have a plan where to bowl to which batsman, how to bowl to which batsman, and also all those things. Specific instructions are there in today's time, which earlier, generally we never had that kind of a situation. We knew from the last game, or maybe the last series, that this guy plays like this guy plays like that. So that's how we used to look. But if you're bowling to Viv Richards, you have to no plans at all. You have no plans, because he derails all your plans. So people like that, it's difficult to assess how you are going to bowl to him and all that. You are lucky if you're bowling well, and if he makes he plays a rash shot and get out, and then you're lucky enough to, have him. So he had actually, he was having a bad series in West Indies when we were playing, except for the Jamaica Test match where he got 100. But that also I think, we left a very important catch at the time, and then he actually capitalized that. But as I said that, things were different during that time. Things are different during this time. The technology, what they use today, is much easier to analyze a player, much easier to find out what are the shortcomings of a player and all that. I think, I think if we had this, I think probably we would have been in a much better place.
Actually, sir, if you had this and then you planned and did everything and still Vivian Richards didn't get out, you couldn't say anything when you come back.
Nothing could have been done
so
about
it's better it was not there, because then now you can say we didn't know what to do. We tried our best.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there were many solutions to bowling to Sir Vivian Richards. So in a way, this worked out pretty well for everyone, especially the bowlers who had to bowl to him probably.
True, in a way, it's true. But then again, we were not playing only with Richards. We were playing so many other players. I think this technology could have really helped during that time, because there were certain players that we were unaware of, how to go about it sometimes. But because of the I would say cricketing intelligence, what we had during that time, which was used much better, I think, during that time, and I think it really helped. It really helped.
Yeah.
I would like to mention here one small incident. I was not playing in that game. It was this South Zone versus West Indies. Bernard Julian was playing, the fast bowler, and he used to bat decently well enough. So Prasanna was bowling. So he saw that, once he drew, so he was driving through mid-wicket, and most of the time. So he bowled one ball and rushed to a short mid-wicket position, and he actually took a catch there.
So he bowled and he ran
and he ran to
so it was a caught and bowled, but
at short mid-wicket.
Okay, so that's brilliant.
That was the kind of things we have seen during that time. The people. I'm not saying that they are not, cricket intelligence is, they are much more aware of these days. But at the time, without any, this thing immediately on the ground, you have to learn how they are playing, and you have to, immediately apply that. So that's what he did.
Yeah, that is pretty brilliant though. Like you mentioned, it's like being analyzing while you're playing. So you're not just playing, you're also analyzing and trying to find some flaws and trying to get the batsman out and outsmarting him on the pitch, which is like, I mean, now for us, probably in this generation, we would never even have thought of that, because we have everything at disposal. Just type something and we'll find, okay, he scores 60% runs on the leg side, so I'm going to bowl on the offside. But to bowl and analyze, it's like, that would have been some interesting conversations when after he came back to the dressing room as well, wouldn't it?
Surely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that probably was one of the best conversations we have had in a long time.
Indeed.
I would like to thank Arshad sir again for coming here and giving us his time, and hopefully we'll have you back on the show very soon. And I see Dan, actually just a shout out to Dan as well, because he was not free, but he has made time just from work. He has gone straight to the car, and the reason he's looking dark is because it's really late over here.
I'm losing light here. I'm like desperately hunched over my phone. I've got people looking at me wondering what's going on. But
it's late in Australia. I understand that.
Yeah, this is what we do for the love of the game. Like normally we like to wrap up the show. The boys haven't told you this because they're a little ashamed of me. I'm a huge Shikhar Dhawan fan. Massive. Yeah, I'm a massive Shikhar Dhawan fan. And normally like we try and make time for Shikhar every week, but every week we run out of time for him. And you know, I have to say it's nice to have like an actual guest, so I don't have to sort of, you know, disappoint Shikar anymore. So you know, we really appreciate you making the time.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Excellent. Sid, you want to wrap it? Take us out.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, sir. Thank you once again for joining us. And I think we'll hopefully have you once again on the show to discuss more on cricket and more such, you know, stories or anecdotes that you just shared with us. And to all our fans, you know, just, you know, keep watching our shows and do subscribe, like, you know, all the videos that we make. And until then, on the behalf of Arshad sir, Nikhil and Dan, it's Siddharth saying goodbye.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.